let's dive straight into, I think people know a lot about you, basically. I think whenever people think about you, they think about inventions, they think about newer kind of stuff, and even now, in your new company too, you are dealing with a concept like artificial reality. Now, we are just dabbling and trying to wrap our heads around artificial intelligence. What exactly is this artificial reality?
I think it's another buzzword. You know, as you may say that the metaverse is another buzzword or something. But like one of the before I start, first of all, thanks for inviting me, and wonderful to see you all. Sorry, I'm not being there in person. I'm very much looking forward to be in India very soon. In fact, the company that I run now, we are starting an India office very soon, and we are opening up in Mumbai very soon. So I'll be seeing many of you there. So I personally am excited about this new journey and the new things that are happening in the market related to AI and the metaverse and the together part of it. So, and to your question that what is artificial reality? So it's a reality. Everyone of us know what is reality part of it. Right? So in a simple word, artificial reality is AI generated synthetic reality, an alternate reality, as you may say, part of it, right? And that is what is kind of, we are already in the middle of both of this world already, right? Right now I'm in the Zoom, my virtual pixels from my cameras are flowing towards you, and you are seeing me on the screen. So we already reached the halfway part of it. But can we go a step further? Can we go beyond, like the dreams that we used to have, the dreams of the Dali, where the clock actually folds, and then can it be possible? And then that's what the whole thing is about. Of course, a lot of people are trying this approach from the multiple sides. Metaverse is coming in from different point of view, different perspective of that. And that you take a 3D world and try to mimic the real world. Like a lot of my friends who don't enjoy anymore now, but they wear those VR goggles and go into this world and feel that they are in somewhere else. Artificial reality is taking this challenge from a little bit different approach. It's going from top down, where say, okay, we have a reality. Can we synthesize in a way that it looks and behave like our real world with augmented one? So that's kind of the in one way to explain it is yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. So when we talk about the promise of AI, that what is the kind of promise that AI holds for society, where exactly do you see these technologies? Because we have been having a discussion throughout the day on what can AI, metaverse, mixed reality, artificial reality, or whatever, the humanoids. I mean, we have got so many other buzzwords, but basically there are already deep down a lot of building blocks that have already been done and a lot of work done by inventors like you. So could you give us some kind of a perspective on what these technologies mean for society?
Yeah. I was listening in just now, like a little bit, that last talk. I was not there all day for the event, and I don't want to come between you and your cocktails very soon, so I don't want to go into too much deep inside. But one of the things that I studied in India. I studied in Gujarat University, and I was in IIT Bombay and all this particular part of it. I want to point it out that my introduction of AI was very boring when I was in school. We had a textbook of AI, and that the AI was teaching like a statistic method of AI. That why AI was just like a chapter of the computer science that was there, and it's died. That was the concept that even when I came to MIT, the perspective, I was actually a student of Marvin Minsky, as you may know, one of the godfather of the AI school of this particular direction. His approach of AI was very different, very pragmatic in the very functional based AI part of it. So what we have learned about the AI throughout our life of histories, ups and downs of the history, is that it's just a task oriented thing. If it does something similar to the human, then it's AI. That's what we call that AI for. I personally disagree with the term that can India become a superpower of AI. Why? I'm not don't take me wrong. I think that India is already superpower of the AI. Why? Because AI is a synonym to the software industry, and India is already a superpower of software industries, if you may say it. It's not AI is just a subfield of this whole computing industry. So, of course, right now we are having AI summit, and that's the kind of a subfield of this computing industries or the digital world industry. So, I think we should think that in that terms. The second thing, even if we go now like deep pragmatic, like I'm a programmer, I do stuff myself. So I feel that the AI is divided into this right now is into these three levels, like the level of automation. Second comes the assistance, and then the last one is autonomy, as you may say. So, if you are driving like this, the autonomous car, there are like levels of the autonomous driving levels. Similarly, we can divide AI into these three categories of that thing. And people who are coming from this academic fields of AI or even the real world of the engineering, they understand like simple tasks such as object detection, the classification, the spam filtering, the test classification. These are automation tasks of it, which was already done. Our mailbox are doing very good job at that thing using the AI for sure in that person. The second level, when we come to the second level, which is we are right now, the whole NLPs or the voice synthesis, like my Alexa is talking like Amitabh Bachchan voice or whatever it is, right? All those things falls under voice cloning. Those simple things falls under assistance part of the technology of AI. Now, when we go into the last chapter, the autonomy part of it, the things become much more exciting, right? And that is why I jump in. The reason that, if you know my earlier work, from Sixth Sense to the VR, the Gear VR, to the Galaxy's devices, my focus is always visual, making more immersive interaction part of it. So there was a perfect time, I will say, that is happening, that the whole AI is coming back. The secret sauce of how to make something intelligent or behave like intelligent is coming back. At the same time, the whole immersive world of the metaverses and 3Ds and those are coming back. And that is what, in simple sense, artificial reality is also about. So that is what excites me, that this is a wonderful time. And no, there's no correct answer. If you ask me, for people like me, I would say the 3D is dead. The 3D metaverse are dead. We better be living in a game world which is real, not 3D generated part of it. That's my approach. If you ask the Unity CEO, he might be saying that, we can make 3D right now very lifelike. So that different approaches exist part of it. And I think that's what exciting both side work is important to make something progress. So that's what I would say.
I think one heartening takeaway I think all would have from this particular statement that you made was that AI, India is already an AI superpower that you already have. I think there's a big applause on that particular. Yeah.
It's truth. Like if you ask right now, I'm talking to some car making company, or I'm talking to a company which is making toothpaste, for example, right? And they want to use machine learning models. That's like one of the key agenda on their first item is that, software engineering, machine learning, AI is part of the thing, right? So software is, I don't think there is any company right now in India which does not use a machine learning model or training or like some data. So it is a part of it. It's the next chapter of the what is in software industry. That's all.
Fair enough. One topic that we have been talking about, or rather, not even debating, I would just say discussing extensively throughout the day, which I think even Mr. Chaudhary pointed out, and even SK and the other CEOs, and even throughout the day, was around the concern areas. Like take your artificial reality. When does the real become the unreal? When does the unreal become the real? People can't even distinguish between the two. And also when we talk about loss of jobs, privacy concerns, data colonization, many other kind of concerns. As a computer scientist, how do you look at that? Because I know of certain computer scientists who say, let us keep outside this particular framework, but I don't think that's possible any longer.
No. I think that if you may think of this concept of as you may think that the whole concept of augmented reality or virtual realities or even this projected environments and something that is coming, I don't think this is recent. Like even in our time, the story makers of Mahabharatas and all this stuff, like the Pandavas had this palace which was having some illusions happening, and on the ground there was a projected water coming in and people are falling down. The worst concept was already there. People always wanted to live in a different world, different reality, different dreams. And as this is part of our body, every half of the human life when we sleep, we actually go to an alternate reality, if you may think of it, right? We want, the only thing is that it's not controlled. Now people want it to say, is it possible to control it, right? And that's what the thing. Of course, the biological way of controlling the dreams might be another interesting chapter part of it, but it is from the brain, right? So it is, our brain is keep creating this realities in particular part of it. So I don't think that there is and always reality is always exists. The digital world came later, right? So rather than me living on my 2x6 screen and enjoying the whole world there, better to be enjoying the world in the real world and then have the power of the 2x6 screen. And that's what it's my fundamental approach always been from whatever I do, from 6 Sense to the Galaxy Gear or the VR or whatever it is, right? So I feel that this is the perfect opportunity to achieve the best of the both world. We keep the reality world and then we bring the realities and we let people experience the part of it. So that one. Another, even the privacy issues part of it, like what is the data and like a part of it. I personally think that that we are discussing in a way because we are looking at the data from a very narrow perspective. If we open up our mind from the data, I don't think that is impossible right now. There are algorithms right now that can do machine learning training on top of it while it's being encrypted. So that's not and that is exactly coming right now. So there are some hashing techniques or there are some techniques is already in the market right now. And imagine the potential of it. So you don't need to worry about like we don't need to worry about that the Facebook is looking at my data and these people, machine learning models are training on that data. Or even this earlier talk, the speaker was talking about that India data should stay in India. Of course, India data should stay in India, but imagine if it's encrypted and it can benefit the whole world and vice versa. We can benefit from what the people in Southeast Asia or the China or the Europe is doing. Our system will become as much as better. So there are ways to go around that part of it, and with the AI. I don't think the transformers or the current state of the way of looking at AI is AI. Please, let's not. That's just as I mentioned to you, when I was in school, we was taught the whole AI book was talking about just statistical reasoning. That was AI, right? Now we open up our mind to maybe 2% more, and then all this whole the attention models comes, and the transformer comes, and then the fast parts comes. And I feel that there is 99% more to explore before we can say that we understand AI, the world, and different approaches are more welcome in that. So that will happen very soon. Yeah.
Pranav, you were born and brought up in India. India is a land of startups. India is a land of unicorns. You have built a lot of deep tech startups yourself. So what should deep tech startups do to build viable business models around these sort of unproven technologies, like whether it's AI at least has a kind of we are seeing the ROI, but we find a lot of metaverse kind of startups out here or Web3. So what is your sense? How can we build viable business models?
I personally feel that the having that open call for innovation is the best way to innovate. Because then like people have to, if everyone's trying, if one person becomes successful and if you're going out of a roads and that road everyone is just walking because they're seeing a very quick success in the first go, we might be missing out the opportunity which is maybe 2 miles away from another road, but it's actually much bigger. So different people trying different approaches, different companies, different startup pushing different boundaries will open up this new way of exploring. So like, and then time will prove, like, we being us now, I was in a corporate world before, large companies, and where we can throw $5 million to explore one concept and another $5 million to another concept. We can do that, and $500 million to try 100 exploration. While being a startup, you are limited in resources. So the only suggestion, or like the thing that I'm trying to achieve over with my team, or in different parts of it now, is that you don't need to worry about it. You can take a risk. You are going to, like, in my language, there is a proverb that, I like, not my language, but I say that every road goes to the Palanpur, because I come from Palanpur. I mean, it's like so it's okay to try different things, and because that path already has something. So the world is so filled of the opportunities that even if you go on a different path, you will find opportunity there, and in fact might open up new opportunity for others. So, and being a startup, that's a thing you can do. So, in corporate world, I cannot take a risk, bigger risk. Now I can take a bigger risk, and that's why it's much more exciting time to be in startup for that part. If you want to do something new, startup is the right time. Google was a startup, and that's why they are able to ask or fight back with the kind of the index-based search engines or something like that, right? And that's what opportunity the startup gives you, that to ask the status quo and say, okay, is this correct, or is there an alternate? So I think that's what we should focus on.
So I guess maybe, as they say, the Chinese saying, may 10,000 more deep tech startups bloom in India. Any questions from the audience that we have? We can take a couple of questions for Pranav. He has agreed to answer them.
I think they all want to go to the cocktail. They don't want to ask.
Okay, since we don't have... okay, Mr. Chaudhary has a question for you.
Hey, Pranav, I don't know whether you remember, we met up at Infosys facilities many years ago and had lunch together.
For sure, I definitely remember that.
Yeah, so Pranav, I saw that investment coming in from Jio, and I would love to understand how you would like to work with Jio and where will it take you working with Jio. Yes, Jio definitely has phenomenal reach in the country, but how does your area work with Jio?
I think that one of the key things that I have learned from my work, because when I was in earlier corporate like Samsung and Microsoft and other places, part of it, sometimes the reach is very important part of it, both to early try ideas and then to see what works quickly on something like that. So I think the Jio brings a very strong user base and understanding of Indian market, and then they, like, for example, being a 450 million subscriber in India itself gives a lot more understanding and room. Imagine that the Jio phones right now, rather than using a search engine from some other companies, if it's using an Indian search engine, or it will give an Indian search engine a growth, a new data, exactly what the earlier session we were talking about. So that is what I think that the best of the both world will give in that way. So it will give a channel, right channel to experiment new concepts very early, right? The second thing I personally feel that because when I was in bigger company, I also understand this part of it, that many of these bigger companies have a very small internal team. Like, for example, if metaverse comes up, companies like in Geos or the Samsungs of the world, or they will say, oh, we also should have a metaverse team and we should build this thing. And Infosys will say, oh, we should have this one because this is happening, a new buzzword coming, so they will put something on place. And sometimes the wrong directions have been taken by some of the smaller team just as a follow-up step. Sometime, and with a bigger support from the company, can actually misguide the whole industry and market. That happens many times, part of it. So I feel that having that ecosystem of the two is my company, like number two over here, as you can say. Two, working with the a channel who understands the Indian consumer, which gives a lot more kind of the best of the both world, like a right innovation, bringing at the right channel, and that will help India in a much better way than adopting someone else's solution or vice versa. And I'm super proud and super happy to working with Geo team. They are very open. From the very top management, day to day, sometime more than I expect, but it is fun to work with them and to explore the real possibilities. And it also keeps a tap on me because, to be very frank with you, I don't do projects for people. I make things for myself because if you ask me that, I'm a kind of person who want to say, okay, why can I not have this today? And I build it. I'm a Mistry. I'm a carpenter, if you may say that I build my own chair in that way. So in that particular terms, the keeping a market tab that, okay, what is actually money making or what is actually will be useful for other people, that tab is important for people like me, people, innovative company like me, us, so we can think a little bit bigger, not only just one sort or smaller areas. So that's a part of it, and please feel free to like spread the word that the tour is coming to India, and we'll be hiring people, working with on some exciting projects, focusing on India and focusing Indian market, and that's what I'm super excited about. Yeah.
So Pranav, we wish you all the best in your new venture, and once again, thank you very much for your time, especially because I know these are early hours in San Francisco. You have really made time for all of us. So thank you very much. I won't be able to.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.